Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop, and that's very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt people.
Do you feel your administration needs to abide by international law on the global stage?
Yeah, I do. I do. But it depends what your definition of international law is.
You mean in Greenland? In Greenland, because start in the 1951 agreement, though, it says the United States can reopen these bases anytime you want. You can send as many troops as you want, and you haven't done it. How come?
Because I want to do it properly.
And properly means own it?
Really, it is. To me, it's ownership. Ownership is very important,
Why is ownership important here?
Because it's what I feel is psychologically needed for success. I think that ownership gives you a thing that you can't do, whether you're talking about a lease or a treaty. Ownership gives you things and elements that you can't get from just signing.
Okay. That is from the New York Times interview with Donald Trump this last week. That's audio. Now, aside from the slurring and the strange thinking, what you heard very directly was that the president of the United States feels the only thing that control his power is his own mind, what he thinks is right or wrong, his own morality. And I'm not going to get into a long conversation about Donald J. Trump's morality. I'll leave that to others. You can make your own judgments. People have elected him. People haven't, I would question his morals any day, anytime. We know he's all over the Epstein files. We know he was friends with them. We know he sent bizarre birthday cards. I question Donald Trump's morality on a daily basis. I don't believe he has a moral code. I don't believe he has honor. He avoided serving in Vietnam by making up fake bone spurs after playing 4 years of collegiate tennis. So I don't believe for one moment that Donald Trump has a moral compass. But more disturbing for me as a citizen of the United States and as a person who swore an oath to the Constitution, raising my right hand on the plain of West Point in 1983, the ripe old age of 17, and then re-upping that oath until 2010, and for the rest of my life, if you are like me, to the Constitution of the United States. He didn't even mention the Constitution. Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States, said to reporters sitting at the Resolute desk that he doesn't believe that even international applies, that he wants to own things. He wants to own Greenland. Well, he's allegedly just the president for 4 years, right? So technically he's only president for 3 more years. You should worry, okay? But here's the thing. It is January 2026, folks. This is our first show. I got a guest. I had a solo show last week, but we got a great guest this week talking about issues we face in the midterms. This is the midterms. 2026 is an election year for the midterms. We will elect all of the House of Representatives. We'll reelect them. We'll elect 1/3 the Senate. The opportunity for the United States of America to change the makeup of our legislature, the co-equal branch of government, Article 1 of the Constitution branch of government is upon us. And what I keep coming back to is many people running for office are running against Congress members. And in the end, if Donald Trump doesn't feel that he has anyone to answer to but his own morality, I would hope that our Congress recognizes their duty to the Constitution, their duty to our nation to check his power. So let's think about that. And I couldn't think of a better example of how broken that is. How far our Congress, our Republican doormat Congress, this is the Republicans, it's the Republicans, folks. Let's be very clear. This is the Republican doormat Congress. Just like Harry Truman had his Republican do-nothing Congress, we are faced with the Republican doormat Congress. And what I mean by a doormat is that's that thing you put in front of your door that people wipe their feet on their way by. I didn't even think about it. Maybe they'll see it's got live, love, laugh on it or some shit. But they wipe their feet on it and keep on going. That's what the Republican Congress has become. And I couldn't think of a better example of that than the horrifying events of Minneapolis this week.
The bottom line is this: when a federal officer gives you instructions, you abide by them, and then you get to keep your life. And it is clear that she tried to use her vehicle as a weapon, mow over an ICE agent, and now she is dead. And her death is tragic, but at the end of the day, it was completely avoidable if she would have simply followed the commands of the ICE agents.
Yeah. That's Representative Hunt from Texas, an Army veteran like myself. I want you to think about what he said. That as long as you comply with the federal agent, you get to keep your life. Okay? He's saying you could be summarily executed for not listening. And if you follow that, and I'm not going to show that entire video. I'm just not. I could. You've seen it already. But you do know if you've seen the entire video, and there's like 5 freaking angles. The first order was move away, move out of her way. You see Renee waving vehicles past her. You see her backing her vehicle up. You can hear her in a new video just came out today saying, I'm moving. Their first command was get out of the way. So she was complying with their orders. Their second command, because they lost their tempers, and we'll talk about that more later, was get the fuck out. They're professionals over the ICE. Get the fuck out, get the fuck out. She was scared to death. She wasn't running anywhere. She wasn't weaponizing her vehicle. I don't give a damn what they say. The comply, she was told, so which order is it, Representative Hunt? Is it the order to get out of the way? Is it the order to get out of your car? Is it the order to get down? Is it the order to pick up your gun? What is the order that causes you to be summarily executed by the agents of the government? Summarily executed by the agents of Donald J. Trump. The man who at the beginning of the show said, I don't answer to anyone but me. And therefore, those who work for him can say, I don't answer to anyone but Donald Trump or to anyone. The United States Congress, the Republican-led Congress, has walked away with their constitutional duty in ways our founding fathers never possibly could have been imagined. It is horrifying to see the lies and excuses they've made this week for everything from the Venezuela incursion to this outrageous behavior of federal agents in Minneapolis. And we'll have more to talk about at the end of the show because I have another angle on that too. But in the end, to see a member of Congress go on TV and say, if you comply with federal officers, you get to keep your life. And while her death is tragic, she did not make that choice, ladies and gentlemen. She's a mother of a young child. They shot her and she had stuffies spilling out of her glove compartment for her kids. But if she just complied, she could keep her life because a federal agent gave her an order. Folks, we're through the looking glass. We're through that looking glass as so many of us have been predicting for years. We are through that looking glass. And I'm asking this simple question. Where is Congress? Where is the United States Congress? Where is the Republican Congress? So you have a choice this fall. Starting in March, we start having primaries for this election. Just 2 months away, you could start voting. Less than 2 months. You will start voting for the 2026 election. Time to step up. Time to change this Congress. Time to hold them accountable. So let's talk about that. I got a great guest. Kelly Dietrich runs the National Democratic Training Committee, not associated with the DNC, but it's a committee that trains, an organization that trains people to run for office, to train staff to help them run for office, trains volunteers. It's all free. Kelly's been again on the show before. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff, talk about what we need to do in this moment. So as you know, that's what we do here at On Democracy. We talk about what you can do and what we can do for our democracy. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy, FP Wellman, right here on the Midas Touch Network every Friday night. Let's get on with the show. I still like my music. And it's been like almost 3 years, I think. I already spilled coffee. Hey, Friday night. Wow. Welcome back to the show. Welcome. I'm Fred Wellman. As I mentioned 30 seconds ago, this is On Democracy FP Wellman. We got a song. So you know where you are. Welcome to On Democracy on My Such Network Friday night. Look, that opening, there's a crazy stuff going on in the world. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. What did we see this week? What did we hear? What does this mean in the grand context of where we are? But even more importantly, as you guys know, the grand context is it's an election year. And look, if you guys follow me on social media or here, I'm not one of those doom and gloom guys. There's not going to be an election. It's the end of the world. I'm not that guy. Okay. So I'm not going to let you be that guy. What we do is we have the power. We have power. We have people's power. We have power to protest. We have peacefully. We have the power to let our government know who we are. We have the power to vote still, and we're going to use it, right? As much as Donald Trump wants to think he's the king, he's not. So it is the election year. It is the midterms, and we are here, and we are going. We're going forward, and there's a lot to get ready for. So I'm really excited to have my first guest. By the way, my first guest of 2026, because last week I did solo, which I don't know. I don't like doing solo shows. Maybe you guys like them. I I get bored. I get bored of meat. I'm sick of hearing myself for that guy. So my first guest of 2026 is my good friend. I say that without even, there's no cat as a star. My good friend, Kelly Dietrich. He's the founder and CEO of National Democratic Training Committee, not affiliated with the DSC, but he's an independent organization providing guidance for anyone who runs, staff, or support a campaign at any level. Let's welcome Kelly. Kelly, welcome back to the show. So let's bring him in, Satchel. Oh, and your Satchel too. There's intern Satchel. I love it. Yeah. Okay, well, don't run away, Satchel. So for those who don't watch the show and you don't remember, I had intern Satchel with us for how long were you with us, Satchel? Go ahead and talk. You're with us.
I believe 3 months.
3-4 months for the summer. He went off to study abroad. He's back. This is our first show back, and Satchel put himself on the screen. I love it. All right, get out of here, Satchel. We're gonna do a show, the three of us. All right. Does. I love it. I love it. It's so good. By the way, you can expect the quality of the show to go up from now on because I won't be running it by myself. We were laughing at the pre-show, folks. That I was talking before we went live. That you always caught me like trying to run the show by myself, like looking off into space, trying to type in banners and stuff. So anyway, Kelly, back to action. Welcome back.
Good to be back. Thank you, sir.
Man. I think we were last here in March. Woo! I mean,
first one in 26. Thank you.
You're the first guest of 2026, man. I'm honored and privileged. I was like, I gotta get Kelly on. It's funny. I literally did the numbers, and March was 9 months ago, but it feels like I haven't seen you in 20 years. It's a lot. I think we talked a lot about what's happening in the world, and we'll talk about NTTC, Bernard. But in the end, one of the things we haven't. So it is the election. It is the midterms. Midterms are happening. We have our first primaries are in March. I think that's why you run this show is like a year till the first primary. So
That's about right.
some states are having primaries as early as March, right, Kelly?
Yep. Some of them we've got races in February, we've got races in March, and it just starts rolling on. I mean, you had to file for office in Texas and a few other states in December. So election season is here.
It is here. Yeah, it's not a theory anymore, right? Yeah, we are in election season, and they are happening. So, for contrary to popular belief, there will be elections in March in Texas, and that's several states. So, and these are key elections. Like hell, the primary in Texas has gotten very heated and very interesting all of a sudden. So, there's a lot happening in the world, And one of the things we've been, I guess, before we get too far down that road, tell people what NDTC is and what you guys do, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. The National Democratic Training Committee. Look, our whole mission is to make it as easy as possible for anyone who wants to get involved in democratic politics. You want to run for office, you want to staff a campaign, you want to become a local leader, you want to learn how to go to a protest. We have free resources, free trainings on demand at traindems.org available for anyone. We need to make it as easy as possible for people to make change in their communities, and that's our whole mission.
I'm a member. I am a free member of NTTC, and for no reason. I just did it. Nothing else going on in my life.
Nod.
Yeah. That's good. And I guess from that, so to lead into the conversation, what are you hearing? Is like, are you seeing a lot of folks stepping up to run? Let's start there. I mean, we are in the midterm election. What's your vibe on that?
Absolutely. It is a tough cycle for Democrats, right? It is a tough time. It is hard every morning to wake up and see the absolute chaos and frankly stupidity of this administration and what they're doing. However, the good news, there are literally thousands of people. The base has been fired up. There are plenty of people who want to run, and it's not just for Congress. It's also its state house, its local office, city council, school boards, all of those things that are incredibly important. We're seeing momentum similar to 2018 when we had the beer wave. That level of enthusiasm and engagement is there. We want to keep that going. So here's the plug to anyone watching, anyone listening. If you want to run, we'll help you. If you know someone who should run, go tell them, send them our website. We can help them get started. Everything is free. We need to take advantage of this moment, of this opportunity in this election at every level we possibly can.
At every level. And I love you saying that, because it is the, like, look, I think what gave me hope was seeing the supermajority of Mississippi get broken, right? I mean, for those who if you don't live in a supermajority state on either party, let's be honest, I mean, you could be in Hawaii for all I know. But supermajority states are weird. I think they don't feel democratic because they're not democratic. I mean, small d. I mean, the idea that one party, either party, let's be honest, with that one party controls all the strings of power. I think we're seeing what that leads to on the national level. And so many states like my own in Missouri, we've had a supermajority for over 2 decades, for God's sake. And what have we got out of it? 49th in school spending, 50th in teacher pay. I mean, it is one party rule is as our friend David Pepper calls it, laboratories of autocracy. And so we saw it get broken in Mississippi. I mean, that doesn't give you hope. I mean, is that how you see it too? That there's
Absolutely. There's
School
all truth,
trends, right?
Murphy. Yeah, there are amazing success stories. Democrats are overperforming in almost every election. I mean, we won a statewide in Georgia, a commissioner seat down there. We won 2 of them, actually. We the wins in Virginia weren't just in the blue areas. I mean, we flipped a bunch of seats in the state delegate races there. The success that we are seeing, even in specials in red districts, even if you don't win the Tennessee special election that just took place, Afton overperformed by a huge number. I mean, the only reason, let's be clear, the only reason Republicans have the House of Representatives and have power is because they are running on illegal maps. They know they can't win on issues, so they change the rules. And when you draw the lines to favor your team, this is what happens. So we need to stand up, and this is our time. This is our moment, right? This is the start. That's the other thing I'm constantly reminding people. This election, you don't beat Trump, you don't beat MAGA or authoritarianism in one election. This is going to take years, and it's going to take time. We can't think that, oh, we won this November, everybody go back to what you were doing. That's not how it works.
Well, you can't just go back to norms and traditions. That's weird. I've never heard that before. Everybody, one of my most famous quotes that keeps popping up is like, norms and traditions was out the fucking window a long time ago. We have to be aggressive. We have to be patient. We have to build a team, right? And that's where NDTC comes in, right? It is about building a team, building a bench of people who are capable. And I like to say, and you and I have talked before, I think, and as a political insider, as both of us are, unfortunately, sorry guys, is it's not just the candidate, right? I mean, you guys don't just train candidates. I think it's what I like about NTC, because really, in the end, the challenge we have a lot of places, mostly like Missouri. Let's be honest, Missouri Dems have been out of power for a long time. We have very few Missouri native sons and daughters who have run statewide campaigns in Missouri, right? There's just when you do have this situation of one party being in power, the other part also loses the bench of people who can run those things, isn't it? That's I don't think we talk about that enough, do we, Kelly? It's like it goes beyond candidates. It's also because look, I know in a campaign I'm very close to, the only reason that campaign's succeeding in many ways is because of the talent of the people who are actually running it and keeping the candidate getting them up every day, kicking them in the ass to do the job, arranging them. It's that, and you guys train more than just candidates, right? It's beyond candidates.
A quarter of our look, we've trained 125,000 people since we've started. More than a quarter are campaign staff. Those are fundraisers, campaign managers, field directors, digital operatives, the whole gamut. And absolutely, we need to be creating that talent pipeline, because you can't win a campaign on your own. Doesn't matter how big or small. In fact, when I meet with candidates and they ask me for advice, one of the things I tell them is that the most successful candidates are the ones who can delegate, because you can't do everything yourself, right?
Right.
A lot of incredible candidates, a lot of incredible leaders are in positions where maybe they've been an attorney or they've been some role where they're like the executive doing all the things. That's not how campaigns work. You need to delegate. You need to build a team to reach your goals, right? You have to empower people to get you where you need to be to make that change. We can show you how. And there are so many races, right? I mean, there's the U.S. Senate races. Apparently, every state is now in contention.
You don't have an election.
Hundreds of House races. I mean, even red to blue, which are the top targeted races in the country, have a difficult time finding staff who have experience. So how do you train a fundraiser to run a call time operation? How do you train a field organizer to target or talk to voters, right?
Yeah.
And And just as importantly, like, why are we forcing everyone to reinvent the wheel? Right? You shouldn't have to learn how to do a field script every, like, okay, here's an example for you. Let us handle that for you. Like, here's an example, a template, go, right? How can we use your time as effectively as possible?
I love all that, and that is the thing, because a lot of times it is someone close to the candidate or that candidate. You have to understand the candidate. One of the things I tell every candidate I've ever worked with is you're the product now. I hate, you can't use the old, oh, it's my name on the banner. That's true, it is, and just like Apple. They don't sell Apple. Yeah, it's T Sook. He's in charge, right? So it's Tim Apple, if you're president. But having said that, but I digress. It's not Tim Apple. No, it is Tim Cook. And I tell people all the time, you're the product. And that is an uncomfortable feeling for somebody, especially if you're running for an executive position like a governor or a senator or even a congressman. It's like, no, you have to understand that your job is to talk to humans, make solves, and allow you.
At local levels, you need people out there. Like, you can only knock so many doors, talk to so many people, make so many phone calls yourself. If you can, the single greatest power is if you can motivate, empower an army of volunteers, and that army may be 3 people, it could be 10 people, it could be 1,000 people. You're exponentially increasing your reach, because the single most effective tool in convincing someone to vote is a one-to-one conversation, an honest, earnest conversation where someone is explaining why they believe this candidate is the best choice, talking about their values, right? An authentic conversation. Well, if I know you and I can do that, but if you're running a race, it's only one person. But if you can get 10 people doing that, if you can get 100 people doing that on your behalf, oh, that's powerful. That's how
It's uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable. I've never had a candidate. I've never had a candidate that's comfortable with somebody else covering a meeting or speak. And it is a tough transition. And let's talk. So I think from that, we probably should talk about the environment, which is I think what we originally planned to talk about is. I mean, every week, if people watch this, and by the way, those of you who've been watching this at the beginning, one, God bless you. I don't know how you do it. But 2, I'm sick. I, But for those that had, I say almost every freaking week. It's funny. One time I had a guest who had been like one of my very first guests, maybe Dennis Aftergut, which was my very first guest on Midas Touch. And I pulled the script up and it opens up. Wow, another crazy week in Washington. Like, I'm so tired of saying that. But every show, I
can't look crazier. And then you look back and you're like, oh my God,
it got crazier.
there will be great.
It got crazier. Yeah. So here we are. Yeah. It was a crazy week, though. I mean, my God, it's hard to believe that a week and a half ago was Venezuela. Right. He's the president of Venezuela. And a lot of us, and look, justifiably, there's anger. I'm one of the guys that was great because I'm a veteran. So a lot of things foreign affairs touch me a lot because I'm a veteran. I got a kid who's a veteran, a son of a veteran, but it's also a moment where at the same time, the exact same week, all of our healthcare went up, right? Everybody's healthcare rates went up. The ACA subsidies expired. Panic in the streets. I mean, I talk to people every day in my district who are like, oh my God, my healthcare went from, there was a story recently of a couple here, or a woman who's in cancer treatment. Her Medicare is going to go up, or ACA is going to go up from $580 to $1,200, doubling plus. These up numbers,
Right? I mean, sure.
Well, last week the couple theirs went up to $2,100 for a retired couple. That's a second house payment for us. That's we can't do that, and so
It doesn't have to be this way. Like this is ridiculous between Venezuela, healthcare, ICE. By the way, we still don't have the Epstein files, right? Like,
oh yeah, don't forget that. Yeah,
one hit after another, and a lot of this is just cover for all of that. Like, don't think about the Epstein files because we're doing this and we're doing this. It's their muzzle velocity where they want to overwhelm us day after day, which is why.
So what are you telling your candidates? I mean, I know you talk to a lot of candidates. I mean, that's part of your job, and that's one of the reasons. So, guys, the reason I like to have Kelly on the show is because you can get a campaign manager or a consultant, but you talk to a lot of candidates.
We're an nationwide. We work almost 1 out of every 7 candidates, Democratic candidates on the ballot in 24 used our materials.
So wow, that's a lot of candidates. So what's your thinking? I mean, as you look at that moment, I mean, we are in what a convoluted moment between. We opened the show talking a little bit about essentially Greenland, but in the concept of a president who believes he's untouchable with power. And then you see that goes to Venezuela, that goes to the horrifying things we just saw in Minneapolis, which I'll talk about when you leave, of masked men killing people. We had a congressman there, Hunt, at the beginning, saying, well, if you comply, you get to live. I mean, as you talked, I can't even mention that. I got my paint back. I'm a little washed out this week. What do you tell kids? Like, as we talk about these things,
there are so many things that they want to distract us with, right? And every week every day, there's going to be another thing. We need to be laser focused because if you're watching this, Fred, you and I, we're not normal, right? We pay way too much attention.
we live this stuff. Yeah.
Live this stuff. Winning an election is about talking to the voters and convincing them, getting them to take action to vote for you. Voters, unfortunately, they may know about Venezuela. It's not affecting their day to day, right? And there's all kinds of problems with the fact that we sent the U.S. Special Forces in and U.S. law enforcement to arrest the president of another country and essentially kidnap him.
Yeah.
What we as Democrats need to be focused on our message is very simple. The Republicans were elected with a promise of lowering prices, of returning affordability to America, and they have utterly failed. Every day, every week, I go to the grocery store. Our grocery bill is through the roof. My electric prices are through the roof. This shit's not getting better, while his billionaire buddies seem to be making a lot more money. Right? People are losing their health care. It's doubling, it's tripling in price. Epstein hasn't been released. You stay focused on the issues that matter to Americans' pocketbooks, because all this other stuff, I'm trying to watch my language on your show, Fred, and I don't go a lot.
3 years ago. It's like you never met me before, but go ahead, keep trying.
We stay focused on what matters to the majority of Americans, which is affordability. And you can take all of these things. Now, masked agents killing U.S. citizens is not acceptable, and it is a symptom of the recklessness. And frankly, this, as another Republican senator said, I am sick of the stupidity. Right? This has gone on too long. Enough is enough. We need to vote these assholes out. So focus on what gets as many voters to the polls. Democrats, we're going to turn out. How do we get those independents? How do we get those disaffected, moderate Republicans? We talk about ways that we can make life more affordable. The ways that when you sit down, you look at your family. I've got a daughter. I am constantly worried about what the future looks like. What can we provide for her, right? How are we going to ease those fears for families? How are we going to let people feel better and safer in their own home with their own pocketbook? These are the things that we need to be talking about. That's the advice we're giving.
And it's great advice. And from my experience, as you know, I've got this side gig I'm doing. As I talk to people in my community, in my district, it's shocking to me how often, almost every conversation, especially if you look like me and you, we both got a gray beard. Mine used to be brown. 8 months ago. But having said that, consistently people who look like us say, I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about the future for my kids. I have a neighbor, my kid goes to Columbia. I think he's coming back here because and this crosses shockingly economic lines. There's a crisis for our next generation. And it's not because they're eating avocado toast. It's not because they're living a bit above their means. They cannot afford. And I think Scott Galloway's book that came out, he said that 7-year-olds today are, I want to say 30% wealthier than they were 30 years ago. But people under 40 are 24% less wealthy.
Yeah.
Than they were. And so we have this isn't the price of eggs, right? It's not the current, although that's a piece of it. But in the end, like you said, Missouri, we had the highest increase in energy costs in the country, 37% in 1 year. That's, it's not because of windmills. So it's easy. I guess I would say it's it feels like it's easy to be distracted either within the context of making sure we inform about what the issue is. And our opponents are very good at saying, hey, look, I got the price of eggs now, when they had nothing to do with it. Or gas is low. Oh, look, gas is low. Well, gas is low because people can't afford to go anywhere.
That low, right? He's claiming it's under $2 somewhere. The man is a consistent liar, right?
Right.
He loves a distraction, right? Americans didn't vote for more forever wars. We didn't vote for foreign interference. We voted for affordability, the economy.
For us, not billionaires.
Us.
Yeah, it's not handing oil to oil companies.
Right. You know, he just, I think just today, he had all his oil buddies in the White House, right? It's a remarkable how the billionaires are getting richer and richer while the rest of us are paying more and more. And he wants a distraction. Republicans want a distraction because they don't want us talking about how he's failed on the economy, how healthcare premiums are skyrocketing, or his involvement with the Epstein files, right? This is why Democrat candidates, we've got to be laser focused on how are we going to improve the life of everyday Americans. That means driving down inflation, addressing affordability, lowering healthcare costs, groceries, reducing unemployment, all of these things, just like you said, because it's not just our kids, it's people in, even if you don't have kids, times are tough right now. And this administration, MAGA, is not doing anything to make it better for you. They're lining their own pocketbooks and creating distractions so that so that we don't realize what's going on.
And they want us to fight each other.
Yes.
It's what I love about, we are 25 minutes in this conversation and we haven't called it culture wars. We haven't called it kitchen table issues because this is life. These are life issues. Like I never use the term kitchen table issues anymore because this is like, I get in my car and I can't afford anything. It's interesting to me. I've quoted it a lot because that's my brain works. It gets stuck in there. But one of the things I quote a lot is the fact that the CEO of McDonald's earlier this fall, this fall, was on an interview on, I think, CNBC, and he said, we have a two-tiered economy. And the way it's translating at McDonald's is that the top 10% are doing great. They can travel, they buy whatever they want, they're doing fantastic. He said basically himself, like I can go to Bali and I'm good.
Yeah.
But the rest of the country is in a different economy. And the way it's translating just at McDonald's is there's less people buying breakfast. Like breakfast is like one of their most affordable working class meals. I can pick up a egg off for $3 and keep going, right? And he says we've seen a downturn in our breakfast sales because people can't afford. They're making the choice to eat cereal at home, and I love that. I love that for me as a person who's a communicator, especially the way we translate these issues to average Americans. This is in my kitchen tables. Like I can't even drive down the highway without looking at a building or looking at a store and saying, "Well, I can't do it. I can't afford that." So we get distracted by, oh, the price of eggs is down, great, but beef's the highest it's been ever. And these aren't, and I think the other thing, so what's your thinking on, like, these are long-term issues though? I mean, sometimes I say one of our failures right now is we're sending people to Washington, D.C. who have stopped doing big things.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped doing big things. I mean, the IRA was a big thing. The infrastructure bill was short term, right? We're thinking very short term. It's like today, tomorrow. I mean, it feels like we're sending people to DC, especially on the Republican side, who we're just trying to get to the next election. It feels like there's a time. I would like to see people step up to run for officers. Like, look, I'm willing to lose in 2 years. I'm willing to be put out of this job to do big things.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are plenty of Democrats who lost their seats because they voted for the ACA.
Right.
And now here we are.
My friend Patrick Murphy in Pennsylvania, 2 years.
There's a whole host of former Democratic congresspeople who lost their seats because of that vote. They were willing to stand up and do something big. We have the values and the ideas to lead this country. The opposition, MAGA, Trump, they don't have ideas. All they have is tearing us down and blaming everyone else for the problems and turning us against each other as opposed to offering real solutions. Look, governing is hard. You don't get to run a successful country of this size for this long and be like, oh yeah, no problem, I can do it in my sleep. That's not the way it works. We're seeing it right now with this administration, right? I'm sick of the stupidity. You invade a foreign country, you have no long-term plans, you think you can run it remotely, right? Like, they don't think through any of the long terms. I'm still waiting for their healthcare plan. How long?
2 weeks.
This concept of a plan. Yeah, how long is 2 weeks?
We have concepts. We have binders. That was my favorite one. And now they just want to give us money. That was my favorite. Well, Cassidy walking around in his lab coat saying, we should let people buy their own money. Like, my fiance just got an MRI. I'm positive that MRI would have cleaned out our savior. Like, just one. The ridiculousness.
Yeah, they don't get it. They're out of truth. And that's why I think Americans are pissed off. And that's why we're seeing more and more candidates signing up to run, represent their communities because of these issues. Look, we're ready, right? We've got everything available for free. Staff, candidates, volunteers. Your county party isn't organized. Great. We'll show you how to get it organized. Anyone who wants to get out there on the front lines, we'll help you for free, because we need to be thinking about, just to your point, long term. How do we win this election and set up the infrastructure to keep winning for the next decade? And we need to be thinking big, right? I love that Virginia realized early they could redraw, but they needed to vote in 2 separate sessions to redraw their map. And so they got a quick vote in. Like, these are the big ideas that we need to be thinking about, because voters, we want someone to stand up with a big idea and say, yes, we can. Here's how we move forward. We can do this together, right? We're the greatest fucking country on the planet. We don't need to be going back to 1970. We need to be moving forward into the 21st and 22nd century now, talking about the amazing things we can do. I can go off on a whole rant, but we want a visionary leader, and there are plenty of Democrats out there, plenty of people listening to this show who can do that, and we want to help you.
I go back a lot to tell the story of being a soldier. I had the good fortune to attend Ranger School as a pilot. I went to Ranger School. If you go to Fort Benning, you'll see a statue there. It's called the infantry statue. And the motto is "Follow me," and it's a guy standing up and he's waving his arm, and it's a trope, it's a stereotype, but it is true. Like, in times of trouble, you want somebody who's going to stand up and say, "I got this. Follow me, trust me, let's go this direction." And I say that quite a bit. I've told stories from my own military experience, but if you watch Band of Brothers, the scene at Bastogne as they're breaking out of Bastogne, when they get stuck and they're pinned down, and they send in the captain, and he's like, "All right, here's what we're gonna do: blow up, put everything on that bill until it's gone, and then you go left, you go right, follow me." And it's like, okay, what I mean? It's sometimes in an impossible situation, you just need someone to have the courage to stand up and say, "Look, I'm gonna take some barbs and arrows, I'm gonna take some shots, but let's go." It's time to act. And I think we are at that moment in January 2026 of follow me, let's go. And then I guess the next piece I do want to get before I let you go is the one thing I try to leave our guests, and you've been on the show before, our wonderful followers and listeners. What can they do? Like, I get the average, and there's so many people in America right now. I can't tell you how often I get messages, "Fred, what can I do? What can I do? How can I help? I feel powerless. I can't believe how message I got this week. I feel powerless. I feel powerless." What do you answer? What's your answer to that? The average, if they don't want to run for office, it's great, but what do you tell people? Like, what can I do right now?
Yeah, okay. There are 3 or 4 things that you can do, is what I tell everybody, right? The ways to participate in our democracy: you can give your vote, you can give your time, you can give your money. There are 3 ways. You may not like one of those, doesn't matter. Those are the 3. So make certain you're registered to vote. Are your friends, family, are the people you know registered to vote? Don't be afraid to have these conversations. Can you recruit people to run? Do you think someone should run for office? Tell them, right? Because people, they need to hear that from other people. And I don't care if you're in ruby red Alabama or bright blue, Southern California. If you see someone who would be a good leader, tell them, encourage them to run. Be loud. Don't be silent, right? The other side wants us to think that we are all alone, that they have all the power, that the majority is with them, and that is factually untrue. More people support our values, support our ideas than this MAGA bullshit. but because they control the algorithms, because of the way the internet works and rage culture, whatever you want to call it, we constantly think that, oh man, what is wrong? You're not alone. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to neighbors, have those awkward conversations where people realize, oh, I'm not alone. If you can write a check, support your candidates. That can be US Senator, that can be Congress, but also school board, city council, those local things. And if it's $5, great. Thank you very much, because it is expensive for people to raise money. And then volunteer. If you have time to give, go find a candidate you like. Ask what you can do to help. Not
There's
to like make else text.
There's never, I tell people there's not a campaign on earth that doesn't need your help. You know, there just isn't a campaign on earth that doesn't need you right now to help them and to be available and to be a part of their campaign. Even now, even early in this, like a lot of, hell, like it's not early anymore. Some places March is here in Missouri, it's August, but you can start doing things like, hey, can I organize a house party at my house for you where we just meet my neighbors? No, not even money. Don't even say, hey, I'll raise money. Just say, this is who you meet. There is a candidate on earth that doesn't want to get in front of a crowd right now and tell their story effectively. By the way, if the candidate doesn't, they shouldn't be a candidate, right? So, but it's true. I didn't want to cut you off, but it's a great I had a brief AirPod issue, I guess. But it is so very true that you do need to ask a candidate. I know it sounds funny and it seems weird, but if you think about who you want as a political leader, you should you probably want somebody who thinks they're not the right person. I know that sounds funny. They're right. I mean, that you want a guy who thinks he should be president is obviously insane. But by the same token, we could need more leaders who think, why not me? And then they need people to tell them, I think it should be. And we can do things. We can help you do it. We need more leaders who have to be convinced that they're the right leader, I think.
Yes.
The best leaders I've ever met didn't realize they're going to be the best leaders I've ever met. And I think that's something we have to think about a lot too. So that's fantastic. I guess last thing we always said, where can folks find you? We put your banners up. And where's the best place to find your brother?
We're at traindems.org is our website. You can come there. There are hundreds of free resources, free trainings. We put on events throughout the week, virtual events. Additionally, you can follow us on any of the socials at traindems. Reach out, please. Tell us what you need, how we can help. Everything we do is free for Democrats. If you like our mission, please support us. But we're here for anyone and everyone in the country, Democrats, to make a change in their community. We're happy to support you.
I love it. And I think it is time. And I guess that's why I was excited to have you on the show this week it is time, folks. We've been talking. Hell, I actually looked up my show from right after the election in December. And I said, it's an election year. People look like I was crazy. It's December 2024. And I said, it's an election. 2025 is election. Like, oh, it's election year. And look what happened. We flipped Virginia. We flipped, New Jersey. We won New Jersey. We broke the majority, the supermajority of Mississippi. 2025 was election. Well, folks, 2026 is a no shit election year. And in a lot of places, at a lot of levels. And this is our moment. If you start at home, always start at home, always go from there, always make a difference you can make. And we can do that, make that difference together. Boy, it's been a crazy morning. For those who don't know, we do record this in the morning and it's like a little bit nuts. Okay. People are calling me and a never dull moment. But brother, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is a great show. Anytime you want me, I'm here. And yeah, thank you to everyone who listened through this. Go out, make change. We can do big things. Believe. Fred and I were talking about our favorite show back there, Ted Lasso. But it's not easy, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So let's stand up. And the only way we make certain we take our country back is through a lot of hard work.
I love it. What a great place. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. I'm sure I'll be talking to you probably in a week.
Love it.
All right. Great. Thanks for joining us, folks. See you soon.
Yeah.
I love talking to Kelly Dietrich. Obviously, he's brilliant. Like, check out their website, learn more about training. Get the training you need. It's free. It's all right there. You can't beat it. I want to leave you guys with some thought. I mean, I if you follow me on social media, I've had thoughts about the Minneapolis shooting and the situation. For me, and I've said this elsewhere, for me, one of the most shocking things, the shooting is shocking. The excuses being made by elected officials like Representative Hunt at the beginning of the show, saying that, she weaponized her vehicle and, she should have complied. And my point then was complied with which order? Because the first order was get out of the way, which she did. And the second order was get the fuck out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there's a lot of F-bombs in this portion of the show, so close your children's ears. What was amazing to me, first of all, that day, and I think what shocked a lot of people, to include the mayor of Minneapolis and others, is this guy, who we now know, by the way, was a weapons instructor for DHS. This guy, after he shot this woman, Renee Good, after her car accelerated away and crashed, he walked over, didn't run, walked over, looked in the vehicle, turned around, waved to the other agents, kept walking. Casually climbed into an SUV, did a U-turn and left. Now, look, you don't have to watch CSI every week to know. You don't have to watch The Rookie, which I'm a big fan of. But you don't have to watch to know when there's a shooting, when a cop shoots somebody, when a cop kills, when a professional law enforcement officer discharges his weapon. Believe it or not, there's an investigation. When they kill someone, there's a very big investigation. Okay? They seal off the scene. They gather witnesses. The officer is done an interview. He's sent off for a drug test. I know these things. That's what professional law enforcement does. But in this case, this law enforcement officer casually walked away as the woman died, got in his vehicle, and drove away. And they want us to believe these are professional people. These are professionals. And here's what gets me too, is when the mayor of Minneapolis went on TV with raw emotion, with anger that one of his citizens was killed, he showed that anger. And of course, the administration, like every narcissist, blames the reaction that we have for their actions as the real problem. So he dropped an F-bomb during a press conference. Who freaking cares, dude? Well, clearly he's causing more he is upping the stress level, the tension. Not the Secretary of DHS going on TV immediately to say the woman was a terrorist. Not the Vice President of the United States saying she's part of a gang of terrorists, but the mayor dropping an F-bomb. And this was his response today when a reporter asked about him upping the tension in this city with his reaction.
Anything from the Trump administration or the president himself. And also the administration has pointed to some of your comments right after the shooting as turning up the temperature in this city. Yesterday, you did see some protests that, turned volatile at times, gave us pepper spray, that is tear gas. Do you stand by your statements to tell ICE?
Yeah, they stand by their statements. Do you stand by your statement? I stand by my statements. We stand by our statements. I'll look back to what I said. What I said was it was reckless abuse of power. Yes, it was a reckless abuse of power. I said that what the narrative that the administration was pushing in the immediacy following this shooting was garbage and false and BS. It was. I stand by every one of those. And, this notion of inflammatory comments, I mean, come on, guys. I dropped an F-bomb. They killed somebody. Which one of those is more inflammatory? I'm going with the killing somebody.
Me too. Killing someone in the streets and casually walking away like it's just another day on the job is more inflammatory. But if you want to talk about turning up the heat and who's causing tension in our cities right now, it's people like Greg Bovino strutting around, participating in raids, bringing camera crews. And if you look at the video, by the way, there's another angle of that video that day where the guy who shot her actually was filming. He had his phone out in his left hand. He was circling her car to get her license plates and film her interaction with the other officers on his cell phone. And that's why he was in front of her car against all DHS regulations. But if you want to say, look, if this game is tone policing of people, of elected officials, or telling people that they shouldn't, they have to comply with orders of the police. Like, these ICE officers are professional law. And look, I have friends that are professional law enforcement officers. I have friends. I support law enforcement. My son was a military police officer in the military. I have great respect for law enforcement. Okay. The professionals within law enforcement, and those law enforcement people, my phone has been blowing up all week from the professionals, to include FBI agents, who are disgusted by the behavior of this ICE force that's only job is civil immigration enforcement. Parking tickets. You want to talk about turning the heat up? This video was posted by my friend Ron Filkowski from a citizen who's been following ICE. Satchel, show this interaction of this professional force that we're supposed to comply with all of their orders because they're law enforcement professionals, of the federal government. Let's watch this video.
Have your plate number. We saw you driving erratically, very dangerous to the public.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
You're interfering with our operations. You can be arrested under 18 USC 111.
Nope.
We will arrest you.
Not if
You've been interfering with our operation. You were following us yesterday. Numerous times what you're doing, dude. Numerous times you've been interfering with our operation. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
If you continue, you will be in handcuffs. You will be arrested. You will be prosecuted.
US code 111. Get that through your head, dude.
a lot of numbers you just remember. Good job. I'm not breaking the law and you fucking know it.
Yes, you are.
Not breaking the law and you fucking know it. Never got in front of everyone, never.
One more time and I will put you in handcuffs.
Bro.
One more time.
Bro.
Keep it out.
Step the fuck off.
No, I'll stand right here, pal. Right here all day.
If I fucking touch you, then you're gonna fucking get arrested, right?
All day.
Yeah, fuck you. You are worthless. Fuck.
Worthless.
Fuck you.
You are.
Fuck you.
You have
Yeah.
no honor.
Hold your fucking dogs back. Hold your fucking.
You have no honor. That's why I ran that video at the end there. The guy in a mask threatening a civilian, the guy with no name tag, the guy wearing civilian clothes with his plate carrier and his gun, masked men in unmarked vehicles threatening a civilian for simply following them with 18 code 111, and then loses his shit because he's quiet. So you tell me, who's the professional law enforcement I'm supposed to respect in that video? Masked agents of the government who threaten you and lose their temper at the slightest thing? So what? The civilian called him the F off. I'm allowed to do that, ladies and gentlemen. That's the law. That guy had to be pulled away. He's probably a supervisor. That's who I'm supposed to comply with. That's the guy who gets to decide if I live or die, according to Representative Hunt. That guy. I'm supposed to put my life and trust in that guy. His training, his professionalism. You want me to trust him? You want Donald Trump to have absolute authority to unleash his rabid dogs on citizens of the United States of America? This has nothing to do with immigration. This has nothing to do with enforcing our laws. We have an unchecked, unlimited power gang running amok in our streets, led by a man who thinks no one can question his authority. Congress needs to get off their asses and do their jobs. We need to replace them all. Okay? All these Republican members of Congress, why they retired? Why Marjorie Taylor Greene quit? Why? They know it's over, folks. They know it's over. They know we can see this. I can see Representative Hunt on TV saying that if I comply with that rabid dog you just saw on video, I get to keep my life. Not in America, baby. Not in my United States. So, you know what you got to do, folks. You know the deal. Call your local candidate. I don't care if it's city council, school board. This is happening at every level of our government. That mayor, his city council will stand behind him. Run for city council, folks. That's who's fighting back against this at every level. Governor of Minnesota, student, anything, school boards. Hey, after they shot that woman, they decided to raid the high school. We need to control every level of government and take it back from these rabid dogs. Remember that video you just saw. That's the people that Donald Trump and the Republican Congress thinks that we need to follow, that we need to comply with. And if we comply with that rabid dog, maybe we get to live. You know, in Representative Hunt's reasoning, that guy could have shot that civilian filming that because, you know, he didn't comply. Do not comply with illegal orders. Do not comply with people who want you to die. Think you should die because you just didn't listen to them. Again, which order was it? Was it the order where I'm supposed to go away? The order I'm supposed to stay? The order where I'm supposed to turn around? Which order gets me killed for a misdemeanor? Well, it's been a hell of a week, y'all. Next week's going to be crazy too. I'd love to tell you otherwise, but that's where we're at right now. This is here every Friday night. We've got a lot going on. Hey, if you check out I want you to check out our Substack. Sasha put the Substack up. It's fpwellman.substack.com. That's where you can find all the information about the show and all the things we're doing right now. We've got we got so much going on right now. As you guys know, I got other stuff going on. You want to keep up with all the activities we've got going on. It's fpwellman.substack.com. We're there. We post everything there. I appreciate you guys, all the incredible support you've given us the last, I think this is my 3rd year now on Midas Touch. I keep getting it wrong, but a couple, 3 years. I don't know, 2, 3 years. I don't know. Got an anniversary coming up. In the meantime, thank you for being here every Friday night with us. Please tell your friends and neighbors. Please share this show. Please click like. Please post it on your social media. It would mean the world to me. In the meantime, stay safe out there. Be safe. Do the right thing. Protest peacefully. Do not give the Trump administration and these thugs the excuse they're looking for to execute violence upon you. Peacefully use your voice in accordance with the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Be peaceful, be forceful, elect decent people. Okay. As Kelly said, vote. You can use your vote. You can use your time, use your money. Do it all peacefully. We'll take this country back. I'm Fred Wellen. This is On to Mark's FP Wellman. We'll see you again next week.